As I was beginning to prepare this sermon, I thought about it being Youth Empowerment Sunday. And for a moment, I wanted you to travel with me back in time. Back in time, young people, back into the 80s and the 90s. And I want to talk to the young people for a little bit because, see, I had the pleasure of teaching youth church. Thank you, Dr. Williams. And to the high schoolers. And I even had an opportunity to speak to the young adults. And I thought it would be important for you to have a glimpse of what it was like for people in this church who grew up like me. See, I grew up in a time when children were expected to be seen but not heard. I'm talking about some cried on the creek kind of stuff. This is not just being quiet, but it reflected an older understanding of a childhood where children were expected to observe adults, learn respect, and wait their turn. And understanding that certain conversations belong to adults. See, I grew up with terms like this: stay in a child's place. Don't talk when grown folks were talking. I was told to go outside and play. Don't worry about, you worry about being a child. Matter of fact, I remember going to family functions and there was an adult table and a kid's table. And to interrupt an adult while they were talking was a major offense. You didn't just get yelled at by your parents, but everyone at the table would say, don't put your mouth in grown folks' business. Because I'm in church, I'm going to use the edited version. Go sit your $5 self down before I make change. I remember my mom would say, you better watch your mouth when you talking to me. Matter of fact, my mom used to say stuff that was confusing. She used to say, go ahead and talk. Go ahead and talk if you want to. You big and bad enough, go ahead and say something. But if I said something, it felt like she would unleash a whole lot of hurt on me. And if I got out of place, my mom and dad would say some of the meanest stuff. You better be quiet before I slap the taste out your mouth. Yeah, y'all don't have mom and daddies like that, but and even I'll knock you into the middle of next week. Better yet, she used to say, I'll beat the black off. Oh, excuse me. I'll beat the black off your butt if you talk to me like that again. See, young people, life was different. We had no voice as a child. You had to earn the right to talk. You had to earn the right you had to earn it through watching and listening. You had to learn when it was appropriate to talk and when it was not. This Southern dialogue captured something deeply than simply children were supposed to be quiet. The expectation was that a child voice, their opinion, and their participation was a privilege that came with age and maturity. There was a clear separation between adults and children. But church family, can I be honest with you? I found a small flaw in the way that I grew up. I found something that was off just a little bit that's different for young people that's growing up today. While my parents taught me how to remain silent, how to stay in my place. They taught me that age carries authority. But I can't remember one time when my mom and dad taught me when it was okay to use my voice. I can't remember if my mom and dad ever expressed to me, son, this is a time when you need to let people know how you really feel. See, church, the problem is my mom and dad taught taught me to stay quiet and to respect elders, but nobody taught me what it means to have a voice. Yeah. See, the problem is I knew when to be quiet. I knew when to close my mouth. I knew when not to make noise, but I never was taught when I should elevate my voice so that I may be heard and understood. See, this is not just about being a child and being quiet, but now as an adult, I'm still raising my hand and waiting for someone to call on me. As an adult, instead of speaking up, my childhood lessons come back to haunt me. I pause before I speak my mind because I'm still scared I'm going to get in trouble. As an adult, the doctor may not be treating me fairly in his office, but instead of saying something, I swallow my words and leave mad and upset. I noticed this even with my family. My mom and sister used to go get their hair done. But when they got home, they would complain about the beautician. I'm just talking about my mother and my sister. I ain't looking at nobody here today. I would say, sister, why didn't you tell the woman that was doing your hair how you felt? She would say, I thought it would just get better later, but it never did. In other words, she was never taught to speak her mind. She was taught to respect, but not when it was okay to express herself. See, I learned something that you treat an African American bad. You do something we don't like, we won't say nothing to you in the moment, but you won't see us again. We vote with our feet. And when I was a pastor of a church in Virginia, church people wouldn't tell you directly, but they just wouldn't come back the next Sunday. It took you calling them to find out what was going on. Church, I'm convinced that our childhood plays a major part, and I want us to pay attention to this. Watch this. During slavery, we were taught your voice can be dangerous because you don't have the power to talk. You're not the right color to talk. Then in the Jim Crow time, we were taught you have to know when, where, and how to speak because the consequences can be serious. So this led to the Black Southern parenting that taught us to respect your elders, listen, and don't interrupt. Learn to speak and know your place. But then later in time, during the civil rights time, we were taught there are times when silence can become a problem. Use your voice. But now in 2026, here I am preaching to you to say, have a voice, learn to use it with wisdom, respect, confidence, and responsibility. Church, that's important. We have a voice. In 2026, it's time to lift up your voice and no longer remain in silence. No longer remain sitting pretty in your chair and not speaking truth to power. See, church, going to seminary, I didn't just learn things. I didn't just learn things in seminary, but I also had to unlearn some incorrect teachings that I was taught as a child. I want to offer the same to you today, church family. Not only do we need to learn what does say the Lord, but it's time for us to unlearn some teachings that have followed us through childhood. It's time to unlearn some things that prevented us from obtaining and having something that God says we can have. So preachers, the big question is this. The theological question is, how do you teach people who were raised to be silent to finally find their voice? Yeah, the theological question of today is, because I believe I got the perfect candidate. I got the perfect candidate, the perfect lesson to help us understand what it means to say, I found my voice. We find ourselves today in Mark chapter 10, verses 46 through 52. And this is a unique passage of scripture. We find a beggar on the side of the road. Now, this beggar was not just any person, children of God, but to our surprise, he had a name. His name was Bartimaeus, literally meaning son of Timaeus, son of the honored one. So this beggar had a disability. He was blind. In his ongoing condition, now the Bible does not make it clear if he was born blind, if he accidentally happened to be made blind, or if one day he discovered that he was blind. But the Bible does help us to see that he was sitting beside the road. Now, brother pastor, Dr. Stubblefield, now I had to make this clear to me. He was sitting beside the road. Bartimaeus didn't just arrive at that place. No, he'd been there before. Matter of fact, I'm led to believe that this was his place of employment. Let me make it clear. This was his workplace. He clocked in and clocked out on the side of the road. This was his lifeline. His survival depended on the generosity of people passing by. Now, Dr. Allen, because he was blind, he couldn't find a job. He could not work to make a living. There was no disability pay. There was no Social Security. There was no government assistance. If people did not give, he did not eat, and he did not live. So this beggar was completely dependent upon people. But what I learned, sisters and brothers, about the Jewish faith is Jewish people give alms. Yeah, now alms is the act of giving money, food, or other material goods to people in need. So here is this man named Bartimaeus sitting beside the road, but not just any road. He's sitting in Jericho. See, you got to know this place. See, he was beside the road that led people from Jericho to Jerusalem. Now, this was a high traffic area, especially during Passover. So if you think about it, this actually makes good sense. If you need people to give you money, you need to be where the people are. You have a better chance of making money by the river walk than you do sitting on the side of the road on 1604. Bartimaeus was saying, where the money resides. He was in the right place to make good money. And what I noticed about Bartimaeus is he had become good at listening. Can I make that clear? See, his sight was gone, but his hearing was still good. Mrs. Dr. Stubblefield, I'm not a doctor, but I got science just a little bit if you'll back me up. See, when you lose one sense, the other senses become a bit stronger. Because the brain changes and rewires itself, and the more brain cells help out the remaining senses. So this blind beggar became an expert at sounds that he could hear. Stay with me. I'm going somewhere today. He knew different footsteps. He knew different voices. He heard different conversations. He learned to recognize different opportunities, not by what he saw, but by what he heard. Matter of fact, this man was skilled at listening to the latest news and the gospel on the street. And recognizing when something significant was about to happen. So as the story goes, on this particular day, Bartimaeus started to notice something different. The people were not walking as fast as they had previously. He noticed more footsteps in his area. So he must have said to someone, what's going on? And they said to him, Jesus of Nazareth is passing by. Now, church, let me make this clear. This man had never seen Jesus before. He never saw a miracle. He never witnessed Jesus healing anyone. But like I said before, he must have heard about the mighty working power of Jesus. So Bartimaeus heard that Jesus was passing by. Now, in my sanctified imagination, I can imagine what was going through his head. I can imagine Bartimaeus saying, now this is my time. I can imagine him saying, now this is my day. Now, boy, you've been begging for a while now. Now is my time to get what I need from the Lord. In church, I can imagine this man is having a motivational conversation with himself. Boasting him own self up, boasting him own self up. Boasting himself up. Boasting himself up. Boasting him up. I was close, whatever I said. Boasting himself up, saying, I knew today was going to be different. I felt the wind moving different this morning. Today is my day. I heard about this Jesus of Nazareth. He fed 5,000 people, I think, with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. I heard about that he healed a woman that had an issue of blood by just touching the hem of his garment. I heard that he raised his friend Lazarus from the dead. You know, last week somebody told me that he healed 10 lepers, but only one came back to give him thanks. But today is my day. But what can I ask for? Well, what can I ask for? You know, I've been hungry all week. I do need some money in my pocket. But I don't need Jesus to give me another handout. But this time I want Jesus to give me a hand up. I don't want Jesus to sustain my condition. No, I want Jesus to change my condition. Bartimaeus made it up in his mind he was going to ask Jesus. He needed his condition changed. He needed his life changed. And by the way that he was going to happen, and it was through this man named Jesus that was passing by. The first thing for you preachers, the first thing I notice in order to find your voice, you have to recognize when your haters can become your motivators. Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed, Brother Sean. I noticed that sometimes you have to notice when your haters can become your motivators. Let's look at the Bible. It's right there in the verse. It's verse 48. It says this. It says, many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. And what I like about Bartimaeus is he doesn't just give into the haters around him. See, literally, he's been on the roadside for a while. He knows people's voice. He's learned them. He knows how to talk and what they're talking about. So all of a sudden, he makes it up in his mind. I've been depending on you far too long. Can I preach this? What I noticed about people is they would rather keep you where you are than to see you rise to something more. And that's why I call them haters. See, a hater is someone in modern terms that consistently criticizes, insults, or try to bring you down. Often because they feel jealous or got some bitterness in them. See, these people on the road to Jericho started hating on Bartimaeus because he was calling out to Jesus. In other words, Bartimaeus was not at a status that they felt was worthy enough of getting Jesus' attention. You have here the King of Kings and the Lords of Lords. Here you have here the Son of God walking by, and this beggar has the audacity to call out to him, Rabbi. The beggar, the lowest of the low. This beggar is often seen like some of us see children. They are seen but not heard. Here we have the lower class person on the side of the road. And why would Jesus even pay him some attention? See, church, that's why you can't let people determine if you're good enough for Jesus. The truth is we're never good enough. The truth is I will never be good enough. The truth is I'm far from good because every time I try to do good, I always end up doing something wrong. And if I was going off what people say, I'll be tied up, tangled up with no way to come up. If I would listen to what people say, I'll be headed to a burning hell. But I'm so glad my life is not determined by what people say. Huh? I ain't worried about what people say. I'm not worried about what people say. I got to let my haters become my motivators. I got to let them people know to let some, every now and then, I got to let their hating words roll off me like a water rolling off a duck's back. And let it motivate me toward feeling my voice and finding my voice that God gave me. The more they said, be quiet, the more he yelled. The more they said, not right now, the more he yelled even louder. You got to let your haters become your motivators. You need to find your voice. But not only will your haters become your motivators, but you will notice your hushers will become your helpers. Hey, listen, I'm not an expert in English, but I love hushers. Your hushers will become your helpers. Go to the Bible. Shanisha, it is a word. I know you looked at me like that. It is a word. Go to the Bible. Go to the Bible. It's right there in verse 49. Jesus stopped and said, call him. So they called to the blind man, cheer up, on your feet. He's calling you. Wait, I got excited for a moment, Dr. Brown. I got excited not only in this verse that Bartimaeus haters motivate him to yell louder, but did you see what happened? Did you see what happened in the text? The same people that told him to be quiet, the same people that thought he was a beggar and wasn't good enough for Jesus, the same people that told him to be quiet because he didn't meet the requirements to meet Jesus, the same people that hindered him from Jesus, now they became his helpers. I like this. That became his helpers. Ain't that something? You were just telling me I'm not good enough. You were just telling me my voice didn't matter. You were just telling me my social status was not at your level. But now you have the audacity to say, cheer up. You have the audacity to say, cheer up. He's calling you. See, sometimes God would take the very people who try to silence you and make them participate in your elevation. The very people that try to silence you and make them participate in your elevation. That's why David said, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. I'm not going to make your enemies leave, but I'm going to bless them right in front of, I'm going to bless you right in front of them. I want you to see what I can do. God said in Psalm, sit in the place of honor at my right hand until I humble your enemies and making them a footstool under your feet. I found my voice when I realized that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. But most people stop right there. But the verse continues and says, and every tongue that rises against me in judgment shall be condemned. I found my voice when I realized God said, I know the plans I have for you, declared the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Lean to your neighbor and tell them, I found my voice. I found my voice. I found my voice. Listen, that other neighbor don't like you. Just lean over one more time and say, I found my voice. The people didn't give Bartimaeus his voice. Dr. Brian, I said the people didn't give Bartimaeus his voice. The world didn't give it us. The world didn't give us a voice. So that means the world can't take it away. This voice that I have, the world didn't give it. And the world can't take it away. Jesus gave me my voice. And the world can do me no harm. Because I learned something. What was meant to shut me down, God can use to set me up. I believe Jesus is setting me up for a breakthrough. Jesus is setting me up for victory that belongs to me because I found my voice. Not only will you have haters that become your motivators, you have hushers that become your helpers, but lastly, the helpless will become hopeful. It's right there in verse 51. Go to 51. Look, it's right there. It says, what do you want me to do for you? Jesus asked him. The blind man said, Rabbi, I want to see. Yeah. Watch this. First, Bartimaeus used his voice to get Jesus' attention. Then Jesus called him closer and asked him what he wanted. And now Bartimaeus is using that same voice to tell Jesus what he needs. Bartimaeus doesn't lose his voice when Jesus calls him, but he finds his voice in him. He says, Lord, that I might receive my sight. His voice is no longer a desperate cry from the roadside. Now his voice is a declaration of faith in the presence of Jesus. See, church, did you catch that lesson? Did you see it right there in the verse? Don't let people who try to silence you convince you what you have is not good enough for Jesus. I wish I had one witness that can lean back with their best preaching voice and say, I came to Jesus just as I was. I was weary, wounded, and blind, but I found in him a resting place, and he has made me glad. I ain't got nobody, I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I know too much about him to let you make me doubt him. Because one day this man named Jesus picked me up, turned me around, and placed my feet back on solid ground. Now, can't nobody tell me about Jesus, because he will hear my faintest cry, and he will answer me by and by. And you can have a little talk with Jesus and make it right. Can I get a witness here? Can't nobody do me like Jesus. I searched all over, and I can't find nobody. I searched all over, and I can't find nobody. That same Jesus that met Bartimaeus on the side of the road and gave him his voice, but also his sight. That same Jesus that allow your haters become your motivators, your hushers to become your helpers, and the helpless to become hopeful. That same Jesus, according to the Bible, one day he was on trial before the governor, and the governor asked him, are you the king of the Jews? And he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, but he never said anything. Pilate asked him, don't you hear the testimonies that they're bringing against you? But Jesus never said a marvelous word. My God, I feel good now. My Jesus' voice was not taken, but the choice he made to share it with was limited. But this amazed Pilate to the point that he said, bring me some water. Let me wash my hands, for I don't want to be guilty of killing an innocent man. This same Jesus, they marched him up Golgotha Hill. There they hung him high and stretched him wide. But right there, Jesus said, I found my voice and I want to share it. Jesus held his head in the locks of his shoulder, and he said, into your hands I commend my spirit. Jesus used his voice, but that same Jesus, before he died, looked over at the thief that was on the cross, and he said, today you shall be with me in paradise. Jesus used his voice. Won't Jesus use his voice today? He said, no one is taking my life, but I'm going to lay it down for you on my own free will. He had the authority to lay it down and the power to pick it back up again. Ain't God all right today? Ain't he all right today? Ain't he all right today? Jesus will use his voice in our situation. That same Jesus spoke to me one day when I wasn't fit to live and I wasn't ready to die. He changed my life because he spoke to me. Has he spoken to anybody else today? Did he do it for you? Oh, yeah. I got up on time this morning because he spoke to me. I got activities of my limbs because he spoke to me. I got food on my table because he spoke to me. Anybody else? Did he talk to anybody else this morning? Did he speak to you this morning? Did he speak to you with a finger of love? Did he speak to you in your transgressions and say, follow me, for my ways are easy and my burdens are light? Did he speak to you this morning? Did he wake you up? Yeah. 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 I'm so glad that God spoke to me one day. I'm so glad that He spoke to me one day. Woo! Oh, yeah. He spoke to me. He spoke to me. He said to Jesus, "This is my son, whom I'm well pleased." Today the doors of the church are now open.